So Joe Rogan talked about you on his podcast, and when you saw it, like, was it like, oh, that's fun? Like, how did it feel at all?
This is fucking weird. Weird. Well, like the first, because it's happened a lot. It's happened. He's shared. He used to share my stuff a lot on his page. It doesn't seem like he shares so much stuff now, other than his content. But he used to like share a whole bunch of fake martial arts stuff, and he would share my stuff like often. And then when he did that, I think he shared it like maybe 4 or 5 times, and it would be random. But the first time he talked about my page, it was I was working at a martial arts studio. I was the camp director. I was a program director there, and I was teaching their kids classes, and I was a striking coach. So I had a lot of hats, and I was painting a room to get it ready for summer camp. And then my phone started to buzz and it wouldn't stop. So I thought something was wrong with it. So I didn't even look at it. I just like shut it off and I put it in my pocket. And then I kept going about my day. And then one of the parents was coming in to pick up one of their kids who had just got done with a class. And he goes, "Hey, man, congratulations." I go, "For what?" He goes, "Dude, Joe Rogan just talked about you on his show." I was like, "Oh, well, that's pretty fucking cool." So I looked and it was like he mentioned the page. And I was like, "Oh, man, I don't really care." I think that it's cool that Rogan himself did mention that, and that's awesome. But just to have somebody, one of your peers, give you recognition for hard work that most of the time wasn't really getting recognized, that meant a lot. But he's been the coolest dude, like, to me. And what's weird is like I understand he had like keeps definitely a separation from people, and I can understand that. But he's just been nothing but fucking cool to me, like out of nowhere. It's like strange. Like we haven't really ever had like a full like out conversation, but like we've chit chatted little bits here and there, like rarely. But like he's given me tickets to his show twice out of nowhere.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, like I told him one time it was for my birthday, and I was going to be in Atlanta where he was doing a show. And I was like, you know what? I'll go catch a show. And so I sent him a message. I was like, hey man, like I noticed on your website that these tickets are sold out. Like sometimes what auditoriums will do is after they sell out, they'll expand the auditorium and sell more tickets later. And so I asked him if that was going to happen. And he was like, no, they're sold out. But I'll tell you what, I put your name on will call. I was like, oh man, that's the fucking coolest thing ever. I truly appreciate it. I didn't expect that, nor did I ask for that. And so I went to the show, and then he does a Q&A at the end of most of his sets. And so he'll just every people will ask him random questions. So I stood up and I did get called on. But every time I went to go say something, some drunk asshole somewhere in the audience would scream out and he'd address them. And it happened like 3 times before he was like, all right, go and have a seat. And he just moved on. He wasn't being rude to me. It was other people were being rude. And I didn't get to say what I wanted to say. So I was like, oh, fuck. Well, you know what? I'll talk to him later. I sent him a message. Thank you. I appreciate it. Then I think I'm leaving the next day. So I'm sitting down having lunch and he sends me a random message. He's like, hey, man, are you still in Atlanta? I was like, yeah, man. He goes, do you plan on coming to the fights? I go, well, I'm not going to lie. I didn't plan on it because I don't have tickets. He was like, I got 2 tickets waiting for you. I was
Wow.
like, dude, what the fuck? I was like, I'm like so fucking cool of him. So I go and I'm sitting, or I go to show up and I have the tickets in my hand and I got a buddy to come with me. And I had, went to one of the ushers and I was like, hey man, where's my seat? And one of the ushers goes, I have no clue where these are. And he goes and gets another usher. The other usher's like, I don't know either. So they bring a manager and the manager's like, oh, these are floor seats. I go, holy fuck. So I go down. I'm in the third row from the cage. Right in front of us is important people are shit. But in front of that is like murderers row. That's like where all the fucking the fighters are.
Wait, it was UFC?
Yeah, that was
Oh my
UFC.
goodness.
And
Holy
that was like
moly.
the fight of the year too. I got so lucky. It was the Gastelum versus Israel Adesanya fight.
Wow.
And so
That's
that was the fight of the year. And so I was blown away. And that was just once. Like recently I was driving cross country to come here to start filming the documentary. And I was supposed to do a project with Justin Wren. Well, I'm driving like a long ways from city to city. So it was like a 5 hour drive. Well, there was a lot of delays, a lot of traffic, and I wind up getting here 3 hours late, or in Austin 3 hours late. And then when I went to go check into a hotel, they were like, hey, we're all booked. Had to go find another hotel. So it made it even longer. So I sent him a message. I was like, yo, dude, is there any way we can still work together? He's like, I'm sorry, you're late. We're not able to. I was like, you know what? I get it. No big deal. And Justin's been cool as fuck too. But I was like, you know what, man, I really want to see the Rogan thing because Rogan and Chappelle are like doing a
Yeah.
stand up in Austin.
Yeah, I saw
And I
that.
was like, send him the same thing. I was like, all right, dude, how do I get tickets? And I was like, I want to buy them. He's like, dude, we've been sold out for months. I was like, all right, no big deal, not a problem. And then he sends me a message. Hey, I put your name on the list. I was like, that was really cool. Like I didn't expect it, didn't ask for it. And then I got to see him and I had a really good time. I got to smoke weed with like Ron White. So like Ron White, he put the table I got put at was like a table for like, I guess people who were influential in some way. I don't know. Like I'm not that important. But I was sitting there and then Ron White comes up and does a set on stage. I was like, holy fuck, that's the fucking tater. And then so he does his set and then he leaves and then he comes over and sits down at the table with me and there were two couples there. And I had been shooting the shit with these couples and I started to realize I'm like, oh my God, these like people are actually like, there's something about these people that is the reason they're at this table. And the guy next to me and his wife, he was the guy who owned Patron and ran Paul Mitchell hair care products. That was like him. And then
Wow.
across from me, the couple that I had been shooting the shit with and hanging out all night, that was Ron White's son. And so Ron White sits down, he buys everybody shots. And I was like, all right, well, I kind of want to do the same thing back. So I bought everybody shots and then we had a good time. And then when we went to go leave, the couple was like, hey, man, like, we're going to keep going. Do you want to come back to the condo? I was like, yes. So I went to go hang out with them thinking I'm going to go hang out at their condo. Well, when we get there, it's this beautiful condo. I mean, it's beautiful. I was like, holy shit, y'all got a nice place. We're sitting there, start smoking some weed. I'm drinking some tequila. And all of a sudden, Ron White comes into the door. It's like an hour or two later. I was like, holy fuck, this is his condo. And I'm like looking around. I'm starting to notice signs. I'm like, oh, that guitar is like signed by an entire band. And there's a gold album and like all this stuff. It's starting to click now. I was like, oh, I'm in his condo. And so he goes over, he starts talking to his son and his son's wife about him going to see Elon Musk at like the after party with all those celebrities. And I'm sitting there like pretty high, just staring at him. And it's like a Discovery Channel special in my head. I'm like, oh man, they interact like people. And so like then all of a sudden he like looks over, which by the way, that was a really cool conversation because he got to meet Elon Musk. And when he met Elon Musk, who at the time, I don't know if he still currently is, was the richest man on the planet.
Yeah.
And he got to meet him. And what did he do? He didn't try to sell himself on anything. He tried to get his niece a job. He tried to get his niece a job because she was either working for NASA and looking to get a promotion, or she was looking to work for NASA, but apparently was that level of intellect that she could do it. And so that's what he did. And apparently Elon Musk is cool as fuck too, because he remembered his niece's name even throughout the night. And he thought that the dude would never remember. So that was cool. But then he looks over and he notices me on the couch and he comes and sits over on the couch and leans into me with his shoulder. And he goes, hey man, Ron White. And I was like, but I'm real high. So like, I didn't introduce myself. So I just shook his hand and I was like, no shit. And then like, and we sat down and like, we're smoking weed and like we're chit chatting and stuff, and like we got on the subject of my scars and stuff like that, and I have a cleft palate, and we got on the subject of I thought it was really cool about he met Elon Musk and then didn't say shit about himself, but only talked about trying to help his niece, and I was like, this is a really cool moment I'm having, and then like his girlfriend calls like via like a FaceTime, and he's like, oh, there's my son, and there's my son's wife, and there's
This
well,
guy.
this guy, the stranger on my couch, he's got a cleft palate, and that's him. And he just goes about a bit as bad as day, but it was like super, super cool moment. And then when I went to the concert, the comedy show, they made everyone put their cell phones in a pouch. And so like that pouch was sealed until you left because it was a no cell phone event. Well, when you go like that many hours without your cell phone, you kind of don't remember about cell phones. So I was hanging out at this dude's house. I was there hanging out at the table with these people. I couldn't take a photo at the thing. And when I got to his place and we were hanging out, I was so high, I forgot to take a photo. And I'm telling this story to my friend the next day. And he was like, man, I can't wait to see the photo. And I was like, I didn't take a fucking photo. So that's something I get to keep here. But
So
that was
yeah,
like,
well,
that was
Adnan,
cool.
no one believes you now. So there is no photo, there is no proof. I'm sorry.
Fuck him. I knew it happened, and I know Rogan is like the coolest motherfucker on the planet for shit like that. Yeah, it was a cool moment, man. I was so grateful to just the fact that that dude doesn't want absolutely anything in return. I know he's helped out other people that I know without asking anything in return. He's in a position where he could be a huge asshole, but from what I have seen, he's been nothing but cool to me, and I'm grateful for that. And like I don't know if I'll like my one bucket list goal that I have is to shake his hand one day and just say thank you. That's it. Like,
Well, I'm sure it's coming. Seems like pretty soon you're gonna be on his show because I would be interested to see that episode because you guys have a lot to discuss. Like I know how it's gonna go. It's gonna start with fun. You're gonna start smoking weed and it's gonna get pretty deep into conspiracies. But it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.